ahead and get started. First thing that I'm going to do is put up some of this hair, not all of it, but just enough to get it out of my face. Go ahead and start off using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. I've actually been using this a lot lately. I didn't when I first got it. I have been using it a lot lately. I feel like it gives moisture to my face in just additional areas that I need it, which are around the nose and like right in here, T-zone mostly. But we're actually going to start off today doing brows. For some reason now I cannot, I just can't stand to look at myself without having my brows done. What I use is I use the Revlon Brow Fantasy in dark brown. It's right on color wise. It doesn't go on very dark, which is nice. But I usually start off on the bottom and just kind of go over and make that lower line, and then I start filling in. I also will use a dark brown shadow, and I had gone over to do makeup for a friend of mine, and she didn't have a brow pencil, and so you just kind of make do with what you have. Some of us don't have an endless budget for all the beauty products that we want. At the end of the day, if everything, looks nice, who cares how you put it on? What I just put on, after I finish penciling in my brows, I use the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. But I heard about this brow gel for a very long time, and I kind of thought it's just a brow gel. Like, I'll use, the other end of my Brow Fantasy, no problem. And the Brow Fantasy, let me just say this, the Brow Fantasy gel, it works great for a few times. Once air starts getting in there, it starts drying out, it flakes. It's just, to me, it's not a good look. And then also, after I put on the brow gel, sometimes I'll notice that some of my color moved, and so you just kind of go back over it, because the one thing that you don't want is to have a picture taken of you and then you're like, oh my gosh, it looks like a big chunk of your brows just gone because you didn't look after the fact. We just got back from, went to Florida. We took my two younger nephews, or two of my nephews, to go to Magic Kingdom, Universal, Hollywood Studios. When you're in the plane, they use recycled air, and this happened. So we will be covering that up. Not right now, but we'll be covering that up. We're gonna go for kind of a simple look today, but I am going to be using the Morphe 350 palette. For those of you that are not familiar with Morphe, they do eyeshadows, they do blushes, they do contour palettes. They've just recently come out with a beauty sponge. But the 350 palette was actually a palette that came out highly coveted. It was actually recommended, when I first saw it, it was recommended by Jaclyn Hill. It has 35 shadows in this palette, and we're gonna go ahead and use this for today. These darker browns, I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can, but you see these darker shadows? If you have a flat definer brush, you can definitely use one of those shadows to fill in your brows. This is what I used when I was telling you about my friend that I did hers that way. Whenever you start off your look, and today we're going to do a natural, light, smoky eye, but it is going to be kind of smoky because I'm going to do the liner, I am going to do the lashes, because I haven't done lashes in a while and I miss them. The end. The one thing about Morphe shadows is they don't have numbers, they don't have the names on the back, and I personally prefer it that way because it keeps the cost down. Once you start labeling and packaging and everything else, price is going to go up. We don't want that. This palette right here was $19.99. It is definitely a good deal. So I'm going to start off using this color right here. It's the second one down. It's a very light neutral color, and what I like to do is I just like to go all over the lid, starting off with that color. Now this is the original palette, and the original palette has matte shadows, and it also has shimmer shadows. Now they have the 350, I believe it's M, and the 350S, which is the shimmer palette, and the all matte. I like this one myself just because, like I say, if you are just really starting off, you can use this palette for contour, you can use it for highlight, you can use it for brows, you can use it for, you know, the eyeshadow. So, you know, if you were really careful, I bet you could even use it for a blush, but like I say, you'd have to be really careful and have a light hand. We're going to go in the top row, and we're going to do the 5th shadow right here. It's a hint darker, and I'm going to start putting that right there in the outer crease. Do you see that? I'm just going to put it just like that. You're going to go back and forth. I'm going to go to the other eye, and you're going to go back and forth. We're just going to build up, you know, to have a little bit of intensity in that outer corner to kind of give us a smoky eye. So we started off with 1, we did this one for 2, and now we're going to go to this middle color, and we're going to go 3. This is going to be our 3rd shadow. And again, all you're doing is putting one on top of the other. That's all you're doing. I will say that for that perfect smoky eye, it is going to take you a little while. And I've heard people say this, you know, you got to make it, sometimes it's going to look worse before it looks better. And I'm one of those people that once it looks bad, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to wash this off. It's terrible, and just forget it. And now we're going to come down here. I'm going to do that one right there, and we're going to use the 4th shadow. Initially, when I first started watching YouTube videos to do makeup or whatever, I thought to myself, why are they using so many? But then, I love Jaclyn Hill. I watch a lot of her videos. Actually, I watch all of her videos. And the one thing that she would say over and over again was, you know what? You have all these shadows, use them. Because if you just use, you know, 1, 2 shadows at a time, you'll never go through them. If I'm just going to put on 1 shadow at a time and buy a palette like this, I don't have any business going and looking anywhere else, because I'm never going to use them up. And, well, we know that's not going to happen. So let's use all of them if you can. But can you see that outer, like the outer V starting to look a little bit more smoky? Okay, so the next color that we're going to do, I am going to bring in a orange, this light orange right here. And I used to think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to use orange. That's not going to look good on me. However, this one right here, it does add in some warmth, and it really does look very pretty. When I first would watch, you know, like, again, I was watching Jaclyn Hill when she did a look with this palette. And I was thinking to myself, okay, you have that beautiful porcelain skin. I don't. That is not going to look good on me. But actually, it really does. And then again, when you start, you know, building on top of it, it looks a lot better. So after the warm, we're going to use this, like, I don't know. It's like I think of like an Adobe brown, you know, like when you're going through New Mexico. To me, that's the color it looks like. Blend it in. I always go very light with the shadow. I don't go in, because to me, you can always add more you can take off, but then you ruined all the layers that you had to try to build up, and you know, why do we want to do that? So I'm going to go ahead and stop there for right now, and then I'm going to get a flat shader brush. Oh, let me actually tell you really quick. The brush that I was using a minute ago, and I actually just used the same brush the whole time. I use these right here. They are the Wet n Wild Walgreens. You can get them at CVS. You can get them, I've actually found a couple at the Dollar Tree. But they're really great. They're blending brushes, and to me they're fantastic for the price, because it's 99 cents. And they're wonderful. They're soft and everything, so I love them. So now I'm going to get this flat shader brush. And what I like to do with this brush is I will get it, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, third row, third down, and I will start to do this to my waterline. I didn't used to worry about my lower lash line, but then, you know, you look at yourself in the mirror later in the day and you're just like, you look at yourself later in the day and it just, I mean, there's something missing clearly, and you're like, whoa, I should put something under there. So you just go really tight on the lower lash line. Let me see if I can. You have to be really careful too, because if you go too low, you can easily make your eyes look like a raccoon. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there for right now. Now we're gonna go ahead and put on our eyeliner. Now, I use this right here. This is the Wet n Wild H2O. This is a waterproof liner. It's very similar to the Mega liner, except this one's waterproof. And I am here to tell you, it is not going to come off. I have gone to take a shower, you know, and washed my face off with the normal cleanser that I do, and I came back and my wing was there. It did not go anywhere. I'm going to tell you that if you use this, this is great if you're going to go to the pool or something like that, but do not use it thinking that you can just easily wash it off. It is not going to wash off easily. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start doing my liner, and I'm going to try to do it to where you can still see. I start off in the inner corner and I go out. I wanted to do a very tight line, but sometimes if you lay it a little flat, it can roll out ever so slightly. So I start off on the inner again. I used to have to pull one corner of my eyelid to make my line straight, but if you can avoid at any cost tugging at the skin around your eye, do it, because you are gonna get older and your skin is very delicate around your eye. So, okay, the dreaded wing, but we're gonna do it. I would love to tell you that, okay, this is how you do the perfect wing. I'm sorry, I can't help you. If I ever have a really good wing, it's just a miracle and that's it. I'm sure y'all seen that meme on Facebook where she keeps on trying to fix it, and before you know it, she has these two big black eyes. I think I inspired that, but you know, we're not gonna take credit for it. So there you go, that's what I'm gonna do there. Now, the lashes that I use are the Ardell. I use the Demi Wispies, are my favorite. Hold them with tweezers, and I just I'm making such a mess because I'm like far away from myself. But I just rub on the tip, and this particular glue doesn't take very long to dry at all. But I just do like this really quick and I'm good to go. So what you want to do, and I'm going to try to get in really close, is you look downward and you just put that lash on the very tip of your lash line. With this particular glue, it stays on pretty well. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. Again, I'm just going to coat the band. I always try to center my lash in the middle of my natural lash line, because it just makes it easier for me to, you know, get it where I need it. What I do afterwards, after I get my lash where I want it, I use the other end of my tweezers and I push it. I push the lash onto my natural lash line to make sure A, there's no separation, B, it actually did adhere. Okay, our lashes are on, done. Some people put on mascara before so that they can blend better, but my lashes, once I put mascara on them, they get in the way when I'm trying to put on my false lashes, so I just wait. I love this foundation so much. Okay, so all I do is I put on like 3/4 of a pump, because it's a glass bottle and it has that pump at the top, and so I just get a couple dabs and I put them on. Some people, you know, swear by the Beauty Blender. More often than not, I'm gonna reach for this brush. And what I do when I'm putting on my foundation is I push it into the skin. And the reason I do that is because usually, you know, when you're new at it, you're just kind of swirling it around your face, and then we wonder why in an hour or two we have no makeup on. Well, because, you know, it didn't go into our skin, number one, and number two is a lot of times I didn't used to set it. I just, you put on makeup, okay, let's go. And I didn't think about the fact that, oh, you know, we should probably, you know, set that so that it doesn't move. I had no idea. So I push it into the skin, and it has pretty good coverage. The one thing that I always try to cover are these little sunspots right here. Ladies, please, the younger that you are, the more this applies to you. Put sunscreen on when you go outside. Sometimes it feels like a hassle. Sometimes, oh, but everybody's there, I want to go, da da da. Do it, because you will regret it later on. I had beautiful, flawless, even toned skin, and now I have these spots from the sun because I didn't want to take the extra 5 minutes to put on sunscreen. You really need to. Next, I'm going to go in with this Hard Candy Highlight and Contour Face Duo Stick. I got this at Walmart, and on one side it has concealer, on the other side it has a dark contour. And I'm going to use this right here as concealer. I'm going to cover up that guy because that's my wretched souvenir from my trip that I did not want. And I always do a little bit right here around the nose because I have a little redness, and I do a little bit around my chin because this is a lighter color. You don't want to just put it right here and nowhere else, because then you look like you have this bright light under here and you don't have it anywhere else. So I do like that. And I actually use the same brush. And again, you just blot it in. Or push it in, I'm sorry. Another thing that I recommend to you is after you push in your foundation, your concealer, you really need to make sure here in just a minute that you set it, because you will get these horrid creases under your eye that just look terrible. Because, you know, for me personally, I make a lot of facial expressions. I just do. It's who I am. Like I say, you don't want to have taken the time to do all this and then in an hour it's gone. I put it a little higher than my natural contour because after a little while, when you're trying to blend it in, it will go down. So just put it a little higher when you're starting off. It's just a recommendation. And then I get, this is another brush that was in that Morphe palette. I don't know if you can see it, it tapers. And so I use it like that. And I blend it up. Like that. Same thing for up here. The contour, you want it to be around where the sun would naturally hit your skin. And then, now this is a more pricier item, I'm gonna say. A lot of my stuff is drugstore. I just like drugstore myself. I have bought from Sephora and Ulta and continue to go back to get certain products, but there are some products from the drugstore I just love, and that's what I'm going to stick with. I decided to go back in after I set my cream contour with Subconscious from my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. Looks like that. I ended up going in with Subconscious, which is this one right here, and set the cream contour. I'm going to use this Airspun translucent powder. I am sure everybody has heard about this. This is like super old school. There were some girls that I had seen on a group that I'm a part of that they were saying their grandmothers had old containers of this in their like bathroom cabinets or whatever. And so all I do with this is great for baking. I am going to be baking. So I just pour a little bit in the lid and I go over this one more time to make sure I don't have any creasing. And then I just take it and literally cake it on. Get dressed after you bake because you will have powder everywhere. Okay? And usually leave it like that. We'll wipe it away later. We're not going to do it right now. And just recently I had gone to my sister-in-law's and I forgot my contour. My niece had a Benefit Dallas in her drawer. And I was like, oh my gosh, she totally would not mind. So I borrowed it. This is not it. I just used it that one time. But I loved it. And so it comes with a little brush on the inside. And I'm just going to go over everything that I have contoured. So now what I'm going to do, I actually got this in my June Ipsy bag. But this is a ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Get Paid. And I'm actually going to just use this in my waterline. Done. I like to put everything back and I'm making such a mess right now. Okay, so after all that's done, yes, we are still baking. We will be baking for a little while longer. Becca and Jaclyn Hill collaboration, but this was the Champagne Collection face palette. And it's beautiful, you guys. I love it. This is like when I've gone on little weekend trips or when I went on vacation, this is the only one that I took. I didn't take anything else. And so you have 3 blush shades. You have these 2 highlights at the bottom. And let me see here. I want to make sure I say it right because I always mess it up. But it is Rose Spritz, it's Amaretto, and this is Pamplemousse. And then you have, let me see here, Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop right there. And it is gorgeous, you guys. I love it. I'm going to go ahead and take another Wet n Wild brush. Anyways, but it is the Wet n Wild blush brush. Looks like that. These, I believe, were, this one was $1.99, I think. $1.99 or $2.99, I can't remember. But I'm going to go ahead and go in with Pamplemousse. I just do 2 dots. And I use those 2 dots for both sides. And then I'm going to go in with Rose Spritz. With Rose Spritz right there. I am going to go in with the first Champagne Glow palette. This was the second kind of collaboration with Jaclyn Hill and Becca Cosmetics. She first came out with the Champagne Pop, which is in all these ones that you see right here. It's that one in the middle. But my everyday highlight is usually Opal, and then Champagne Pop. And so I usually go in with Opal, Champagne Pop, Opal, Champagne Pop, Opal, right there in the middle. I don't do a lot on the nose. A lot of people do. I don't, because I don't know. Sometimes to me, on me personally, I feel like it makes me look like I'm sweating. And then for just because we have all this highlight, I am going to use the Jeffree Star Skin Frost in Peach Goddess. I just got this one too. Looks like that. And I am going to add this one on the cheeks as well. So 1, 2. And was this supposed to be a simple look? I don't remember. This happens. We're girls. We change our mind. That's just the way it is. I'll actually go ahead and get a brush to wipe all that away. Go over everything anyway, just to blend it all in. So we've done all that, and last I'm going to coat my lower lash line. And this is another one of those things that I told y'all. It is a drugstore oldie. It's my favorite. It doesn't matter how it comes, but it is the L'Oreal Voluminous mascara. This one's in the carbon black. I like the regular as well. It doesn't matter to me. And I'm just going to coat that lower lash line. There's some girls I think that can get away with lots of things, and you know, some of them, they don't have to put mascara on the lower lash line. I don't have to put on mascara. I am, I think, too far in now, and I don't like going out without my face done. I don't. If I have to go out because I have to go out, I am gonna have huge shades on the entire time. I am not gonna take them off. I'm not doing it because I think I'm cool or whatever. It's just, I don't have any makeup under here, and I'm not trying to let you see that. Last, I'm going to go ahead and do, this is the Jordana Easy Liner for Lips in Rock and Rose. This is my favorite lip liner because it is very close to my natural lip color. I line my lips, and then I'm going to go ahead and just throw on my favorite gloss. This is the Revlon Super Lustrous in Super Natural. It's 215. And I'm just gonna, it's just a simple gloss. This is something I always have in my purse because it looks very natural, and that's the look I'm going for. My final touch is a setting spray. I've used several kinds of setting sprays, and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't used one that I noticed any kind of a difference in from one to the next. Maybe there is one, but on my particular skin type, I didn't notice a difference. So I have opted to do the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray. And I just do 3 sprays. Guys, that's the finished product. Typically, that would take me about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this hair down. My hair is normally very wavy. A lot of times I will throw in some leave-in conditioner, just kind of go out like that. So hope you enjoyed that look, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.